450 is going to come to the table with more energy. This should be
Not
expected and anticipated. We've got not quite 100 grains more mass at the same velocity, but the 350 should not be considered a slouch.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Cartridge Talks Fully Loaded. This is 350 Legend versus 450 Bushmaster. The breakdown, Ryan, we went to the range. We shot some gel. The video guys made cool video stuff. We kind of came to a conclusion.
In fact.
And then we bring all of that info back here and further digest, dissect, debate, pontificate the results. Sometimes we kind of stay true to the cause, and sometimes we wind in and out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what we do here today.
This one surprised me the most so far.
I was very okay. At the end of the day, both these cartridge would do the job for their intended application.
Yes.
I was I guess I'd say much more impressed with one of them.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. You said it better. One of them I was less than excited for because I had it in my head. A number of different things were working against this cartridge, and this is a pretty loose test.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of other things to come into consideration and play here,
other than
like bone and hide, and you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I thought that's what you're saying, but then I wanted to make sure.
One of them knocked my socks off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to get a new gun, but...
Well, okay, here's what I'd say. Yeah. One of them knocked my socks off without knocking my socks off.
Ooh, Mark. Good call. That was good. That's why you write the punchlines, man. That's why you are the guy.
What, you think my copy's some sort of joke?
No.
I'm funny like a clown?
Boy, you wore that Oregon Wildcats hat today. And
oh, my God. This is... Okay. That's insulting. We had that press time, pretty big Saturday for the Washington State Cougars. I don't get to represent very often. I don't get to watch very many games here where we live. It'll be one of two I get to watch this year.
Did you go
a little bit of turmoil going on right now. I don't even want to start. We shouldn't talk about it. This isn't the place to talk about it. But anyway, big W for the Cougs. So go Cougs. There.
Cool,
it's out.
Man.
There. I said it's out
there. There it is.
Where were we?
350 versus 450. These are two fun cartridges. One of them, I had. If we would have turned back the clock 5 years, this would have been unquestionably maybe more than 5 years, maybe like 8 years, would have been in the lead balloon category. 0% chance of not being in the lead balloon category.
So you're talking about the 450.
I am. Yeah.
Cool cartridge, but at the time, right? Like, why? Like, other than okay, cool, it fits in an AR-15.
Yep.
Big pill, good for fairly close quarters stuff. Big critters at close range. But why?
Great question. I remember when it came out, and I was like, "This is answer to a question that was not being asked."
Yes.
So it seemed. And then it kind of died. I'm not going to say that it died. It just quietly sat down. And then really didn't move for a while.
I wonder if it was hedging a bet. When it did come out, AR-15 is incredibly popular, right?
Yep.
Gaining a lot of momentum, and they still are. But, like, I feel like there was a boom.
In fact.
For a number of years.
Accessibility, affordability, shootability, all those categories that we kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they said, well, let's make one of these, and it's going to fit, and we'll kind of bank on the firearm platform carrying the bullet versus the cartridge itself being, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, yeah. And I was delighted to see it gain a lot of ground, make up for a lot of lost time.
I don't think it ever, we've done a few podcasts, Ryan.
Couple.
You coined the term lead balloon. So we've done a couple lead balloon podcasts. We recorded one the other day. It's not out yet.
And if you want to hear more, comment lead balloon.
At press time, because if you watch this down the road, then it'll be out. But
if you still want to see more, please.
I don't think the 450 Bushmaster ever hit lead balloon status, though. It's kind of been clipping along.
At a moment in time.
You think it was she gone?
Unquestionably.
Really?
Yes,
I thought
man.
it just had just enough.
So I
people
was
keeping it forward.
I was retailing firearms when it hit the scene, and I sold 2.
Dude.
2.
I thought it was more popular than that.
No, man. Maybe it was where I was. We don't have hogs where I was. Central Minnesota, we don't have pigs. And you couldn't use that rifle in the quote slug zone. So maybe it was like...
I bet it's regional.
Very well could be. It's kind of like 6.8 SPC. There are people, most of which seem to be in the state of Texas, that still fawn over that cartridge. And it's a fine cartridge. But it's kaput everywhere else. So I'm glad to see the 450 has gained the recognition and reverence it deserves, because it is a fine cartridge. Curiously, though, I'm more enamored with it in a bolt rifle than I am with it in an AR. Both of these cartridges are AR compatible. I like them both more in a bolt gun than I do in a gas gun.
Why do you say that? Just because you like bolt guns better?
Kind of, and at the same time, like, the bolt guns that you can get these in are these adorable, handy, lightweight, little packable hunting rifles. And you know that tugs at my heartstrings.
Right, but you also know that's everything an AR-15 is, right?
Except for lightweight and portable. Packable, yes. They're awkward to carry. I hunted with an AR for years, and they're a pain in the butt. If you're any kind of mobile hunting, man, they carry goofy. Throw them on a sling, charge handle digs into your back, and goofy handle on them. They're not my cup of tea for hunting.
I mean, I agree. I think it's just personal preference, what I'm used to. I like hunting with a bolt gun. If I'm going to use either of these cartridges, it's likely going to be for deer in an area, that has a straight wall provision where you can use a muzzleloader, a slug gun, or a straight wall. And I just like hunting deers with bolt actions. Yeah.
I missed the boat.
Primarily.
I missed the boat on having a custom shop built Model 7 in 450 BM. I didn't do it. Talked myself out of it for no good reason.
When?
It's a couple years ago. It's like 2017.
Well, you probably didn't even have like a straight wall hunt planned.
No, but it was an adorable rifle. That's a lot of power inside of a very compact little bolt gun. It would have been nice. I goofed up.
The resurgence of the 450 and the popularity of the 350 Legend, as well as really, I'd say like the 350 Legend had a bigger why behind, hey, let's make this cartridge. And we talked about it just a second ago, but in some states where you may previously have had a deer season where you could only shoot a muzzleloader or perhaps like a shotgun
or pistol,
they are now they've rolled straight wall cartridges into that season as a viable option. These are an extremely effective, accurate option. They have all the I guess all the pluses that come with a centerfire cartridge.
Surely do.
And so it just makes sense that a lot of people would gravitate towards them. The 450 was kind of like the cart before the horse. And then I feel like the 350 Legend is like,
this is
this thing is optimized, purpose-built, let's go.
And I, after doing a fair amount of shooting with you and during this test and our time on the range, just kind of recreating and putting holes in paper, which surprisingly we don't get to do enough.
Right.
I agree.
With a range that's like 100 yards away.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, you shoot a lot when you're doing like
a fair amount, but not
testing or different projects.
But it's just interesting to get behind a couple different systems and try them out. Field them. What I here, spoiler alert, and this is unfounded. I'm a fool for even thinking of this. the 350 Legend in my mind somehow reminded me of the 30 carbine, which is ridiculous. And
okay, why did it remind you, and why is that ridiculous?
It's ridiculous because I know better, because it's a fine cartridge. And it reminded me of the 30M1 carbine because it doesn't look dissimilar. And so I had it in my head that the debatably anemic performance of the 30M1 carbine would somehow eke into this, and that's a very, very unfair comparison. Also unfair comparison because I'm a big fan of a cartridge called 338 straight, which is not legal in straight wall cases because it doesn't make a bullet diameter requirement. It's a marvelous kind of...
It's too big?
No, it's too small. Bullet diameter 0.338 versus 0.358, 355 to 358.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a 338 straight is just a 223 blown out to 338. 350 Legend is like a 223, but not.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And
Boy,
so
that's the second time I've just mentally done some mix-ups here with numbers as of late. But part of that is because when we think of our typical center fires that we shoot at big game, your 300s, your 30-06s, your 270s, whatever.
Yeah.
The 338 is always at the upper end of the spectrum.
It's the king.
And yet here it's like, nah, that's not enough.
Yeah, no, I'm an absolute fool for thinking that. And admittedly, I walked in this like, that little thing isn't going to do diddly squat. Thankfully, I was wrong. Because my goodness, is it much, 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 much nicer to shoot out of those platforms. Holy smokes.
Significant difference in felt recoil there.
Recoil, muzzle blast, controllability, shootability. Of course, we went through all this in the studio, but yeah, unquestionably, this is a more controllable cartridge.
I mean, the 450. I mean, it shot well, accurate gun. It had a big break on it. Yep. But man, yeah, I had earmuffs on, and I was making sure those things were sealed. Like you said, the muzzle blast. I could just see the recoil, affecting your body as it moved you out of the way.
It's not dissimilar from a 4570 because it is not dissimilar from a 4570.
What would be off the cuff overall difference?
4570's got a little edge on it, but it handles mass better, bigger case. It all depends on how you load it. I mean, you get factory loaded 4570. That's a 405 grain cast lead bullet at 1,100 feet per second, and that's like shooting a 45 ACP out of a rifle. So it seems, but it's wildly different. But from a recoil perspective, very, very enjoyable to shoot. This is a modern high pressure loading, and so they're playing in that 250 to 300 grain class. 300 is kind of at the top of it. And playing very well. It's a very keen cartridge. It's super intelligent. It's modern, neat, cool rebated rim on it. It screams I was built for the auto loading carbine.
Gotcha.
And it was. And like I said, 450 Bushmaster, it's in the namesake. Bushmaster Firearms Company, RIP, released it.
Boy, that's crazy, isn't it?
Well, I guess maybe they're a thing still. But the Bushmaster of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah. Cool logo. It's named after a very venomous snake called the Bushmaster.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh.
I had I sold it. A Remington R15.
Yeah.
Camouflage.
That was possibly built in the factory that I worked in prior to.
Well, so I thought it was basically a camo Bushmaster.
It was.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I had a Bushmaster Varmiter.
That was a period of my life where I was ready for an AR-15, but not
socially.
Cosmetically, I still I was like, oh, I want the camo one.
Because coyotes will see you.
Right. That was the other. It was going to be my coyote gun, and it was a fine rifle.
Let's get to it, Mark.
Where do we start?
Well,
I mean, we already started, but let's talk about the case of the 450 Bushmaster a little bit.
Sure. So you take this really neat. I think it's based off of 50 Action Express, and maybe it's a 284 Winchester. It's one of the two. I have to look back. and you elongate it and you make it straight, and you stuff a big 45 caliber pill in there, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. What about the little sleek
350?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a 223,
right?
but it's not. It's a 223 bolt head, but it's a wider body, and then zero taper to it, straight wall case, or nominal taper to it, 35 caliber projectile in it. It's a whole new thing. You can't really just take a 223 and blow it out to 35 caliber and call it a 350 Legend. You can neck it up and make a 338 straight, but that's not legal in the straight wall case states. I got to look up this 450 Bushmaster again. You'd have thought I'd have come prepared.
We keep it loose sometimes.
I know it. As I had mentioned earlier,
Put a stranglehold on creativity.
I was giving no credit to the 450 Bushmaster for no reason. To the 350 Legend. I thought for sure this thing is just kind of a sad little cartridge, and it's not.
I had high confidence for the 350.
Well, I was
excited about it.
Curiously, it does not appear to be in Nosler's load book. In fact, it's not. They add 44 Remington Magnum in between 458 and 4570. Well, we'll get there. We'll do a little Google search while we're talking about this further. But
the which we have the gels beside us right here. Both are Hornady American whitetail loadings.
Very economical line from them. And every time I've either seen this stuff utilized in the field, shot it personally, or spoken with customers who are running the line, usually seems spectacularly accurate, very consistent, and just good ammo, which is great because it's pretty economical.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The 350 Legend, pushing a 170 grainer at 2,200 feet per second. The 450 pushing a 245 grainer at 2,200 feet per second at the muzzle. Mm-hmm. So,
read about the energy disparity there.
At what?
At muzzle between the two of those.
I'm not. I'm going to find a different spot on the old box here. If I would have printed something out, I would know.
Well, here again, it's a 284 Winchester as a parent case, 50 Action Express. What a
maroon.
What a dummy. Feel like a real rotten apple. 450 is going to come to the table with more energy. This should be not expected and anticipated. We've got not quite 100 grains more mass at the same velocity, and you feel it on both ends too, right? You watch the blocks get hit by it, you're like, whew, that was authoritative. And then you, of course, feel it. But the 350 should not be considered a slouch. It's a 30-30 sort of from a ballistic standpoint. And we all know the 30-30 Winchester is a bona fide, certified deer killer.
I think it actually exceeds the 30-30.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean that really
sort of, but
puts it in perspective.
Yeah. Depends on your projectile. But this is how I should have been looking at this. I know better. And I looked at it, I'm like, it's going to be like a 30 carbine. I was wrong. Let's cut gel.
Okay.
I got the fish cutter.
The 350 Legend, notably more penetration.
Yeah, remarkably so.
This bullet stayed together quite well. One thing I'd say, Ryan, that I see less of is kind of that big, permanent wound cavity up front. That compared to some of the other things that we've shot.
Those more high velocity cartridges.
I was going to say, and that's a function of velocity.
Yep, correct. And so this is also part of where my unfounded fears came from. Doing a fair amount of shooting with low velocity, high mass chamberings, mostly muzzleloaders, but a fair amount of 45-70. A challenge that you run into with those cartridges is if you don't have the muzzle velocity to disrupt that projectile and really open up that permanent wound cavity, sometimes you can have less than stellar results depending on your shot placement. So it's not generating that hydrostatic shock and that massive wave impulse that's ripping stuff up aside from the projectile pushing through it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've heard people say like notoriously bad at providing blood trails. And I think there's more to it than that. I think it's where you hit it, how you hit it, what the animal was doing when you hit it. And then a couple of other things contingent on providing you a blood trail, but they don't give you, like you mentioned, that big wham shock cavity. But curiously, the 350's permanent wound cavity is unquestionably better than the 450.
Well, looking at it from my angle right here, though, Ryan. So yes, I agree. The 450 in this instance, appears to kind of make up for that a little bit after it gets about 9 inches. But there was some of the bullet.
That was when the bullet was falling apart.
Yeah. Which, if it's still in the animal at that point, is doing some additional damage, no doubt.
Can be, yeah. So we took a friendly off-air bet as to what the recovered mass would be in these two projectiles. So MC Ryan pulled Mark and I aside privately and said, what is your weight estimation on these two cartridges? So launch weight was 170 out of this interlock bullet. The recovered weight, I wager a guess at 168.6. Mark wagers a guess at 165.
I think you might be closer. Let me...
Mark's got to take a look here first.
Take a look. I will say, what a nice mushroom on this one.
And that was the thing that just knocked my socks off, is it just looks exactly like it does in the freaking picture books.
35 inches and change of penetration.
If you look at the box, it's like they literally took it off the box. And we didn't have any bone, and we didn't have any varying tissue
Frankly,
density.
Ryan, I'd say ours looks better than theirs.
I agree. So anyway, 168.6 is what I said. 165 is what you said.
Yeah, I'm a little light.
Actual retail price of the 170 grain interlock as recovered. We lost Bob Barker the other day.
Oh man, I know.
99 years old.
Good for him.
Champion of so many things. Anyway, didn't go over $1 though. 165.4, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Boardman with the W.
Wow. I'll take that.
Yeah. Which is really quite impressive. I mean, it lost 4.5 grains of weight.
Yeah.
And again, no bone, no varying tissue density. So there's something to be said for that. But
I'd say, I look at this, and again, the story would be the same with both of them. But, if you had a hard quartering shot, man, I'd put that sucker on that last rib, let her rip, and be confident that on a whitetail buck at a, reasonable distance for this cartridge.
Put my finger on the scale a little bit here and kick it up a little bit.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
Looks like it petered out at 165.7. Mark, I'm going to give you a hat tip on that one. My personal ethos to slow-moving cartridges like this is if I can get through to the other side and make 2 holes, knowing that I might be at a slight disadvantage from like a tissue disruption standpoint with the lack of velocity. 2 holes means air in, blood out. And I think that would have been stellar.
I could have done a real nice job.
Pulling this 450 Bushmaster out, it'd be a little bit more of a challenge, just due to
and it's like, did this bullet come apart a little bit? Yes. Did it kill the deer you shot at? Boy, I'd sure think so. And what's difficult for us here, Ryan, too, is we're nearly always dealing with a focus group of 1.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Not a large sample size here.
Push that table a little further forward here. Mark's going to throw his headset back on here for a cross check.
Let me see. Let me feel that.
So.
Oh, yeah.
On the 450, we noticed curiously there's like a little hole that runs clean through the block. And what Mark and I just excised from this block of Jell-O is nothing but jacket, in that there is 0.0 lead.
I mean, Samsonite. I was way off, Ryan.
So I think what's happened here, there's very little lead particulate strewn through the debris field inside of the block. I think that the core just kept going on forever. So somewhere in space right now is traveling at a moderate rate of speed.
Dun, 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 dun.
some lead from the inside of this 245 grain projectile.
So one could look at this and go, well, that didn't work.
Well,
And then I would argue, though, I'd say, you had a big chunk of lead go very, very far and through that animal, and likely a very similar result that the 350 gave us. Just
possibly.
I don't think in the field, without the information we have here, without capturing the projectile, I don't think in the field I think you're wildly happy with the result of this bullet and what it did.
Possibly, yeah.
What do you mean, possibly?
Well, I mean, possibly. I mean,
most of the bullet went on forever and tracked straight through and exited the gel.
Here's what I think, Mark. This bullet encountered nothing but soft, squishy gelatin.
Mm-hmm.
Holding in my hand right now, I have nothing but jacket material.
Mm-hmm.
What if this bullet would have hit bone?
I don't know. I would somewhat suspect that lead core would have still traveled through much of the animal.
Lead being as soft as it is, how do you think it would have fared if it would have hit more bone?
I don't know.
Tune in. We'll find out later. So my guess on the 450 lead was 154.8 grains. Mark's was 200. We're both wrong. 55.9 grains.
It's just jacket.
Yeah, just jacket. Totally just jacket. And there's some small fragments left in the block, but nothing to write home about. I can't even delicately place this atop the cartridge case because it's just a mangled.
This is where it gets really tricky for me. Not when I see the expected. Again, with focus group of one.
Yeah,
focus group of one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, we've seen goofy things with focus group of one before. Nonetheless, it happened. So in this case, we are solidifying our winner of the weight guess as Mark Boardman with a very close 0.7 grain variance from recovered weight. And through the gelatin, we are, I think, upholding our original decision and saying that the 350 is winning.
Yeah, I mean, not even really based on just this. But I just know which one. Like if you said you can take this one or that one,
yeah,
go on a straight wall season.
Look, man, I'm as shocked as the next guy. But we didn't just shoot one bullet, Mark. We shot two.
This is true.
And we shot copper, and you know how I am about copper.
Should we remove our headsets and go get the other gels?
Let us.
Okay.
Let us do so.
All right, we're back. We've stacked the copper projectile gel blocks. Both of these loadings are Barnes Vortex loadings. That's a heck of a name, isn't it, Ryan?
They did a really good job.
Again, I'm shooting a 170 grainer. This is the TSX. Ryan, what grain bullet is yours?
250.
250. In the wacky world of bullets and physics.
Yep.
Well, okay. We had an interesting sample with the other one, so maybe this is what I was going to say actually is irrelevant. So scratch that. One thing here's where I am surprised.
Yep.
We'll start with a 350 Legend.
Sure.
My little straight wall darling. Less penetration with the copper projectile compared to the American Whitetail interlock bullet.
Yes. You might be asking yourself, why is that?
I am asking myself why, because every other copper cup and core comparison we've done thus far, the copper has handily out-penetrated.
Yeah. I think a couple things. One is frontal area on impact. The copper counterpart to the lead, and we'll put them up here on the scale screen so you get an idea of what these things look like.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Oh, we didn't measure the diameter of these
I was
bullets.
holding off on that.
Oh,
I don't want to
sorry.
spoil the surprise because I think that's why. So, right off the bat.
Well, you made me think of it.
Yeah, we'll get there. The 350 copper counterpart has a larger exposed frontal area and a considerably different bullet profile and shape than the kind of more modern Spitzer type projectile found in the 350 Legend. It's a large cavity.
That has a large cavity up front.
And I think what happened is immediately upon impact, and the gels kind of confirm this. That 350 in the copper counterpart is deploying its pedals like instantaneously.
Yeah.
The cavity is larger sooner. And because of that, now we have all this additional resistance that's slowing that projectile down. And it is stark. So, for instance, the 350 lead, 35 and a quarter inches of penetration. The 350 copper, 23 and a half. So, remarkably less. But the bullets look very different. Very different. And I'm very excited to cut them apart and measure them. Oh, wow. Is that absolutely beautiful. Wow.
You're enamored with this beauty, which I like too. I like to see these perfect little specimens, pulled from their gel-encased tomb. But I'll say, even with that other one, I think you had a very, 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 very dead deer.
Oh, yeah. I was pleased. You bet.
It's not, maybe.
I like seeing this kind of projectile better. I really do. And that's because I've never killed anything with a 350 Legend, but I have killed things with cup and core counterparts to coppers in the same calibers. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Nothing kills like a copper. Okay, so there we have it. One recovered Barnes TSX, fired from the 350 Legend. They couldn't look more different, truly.
Yeah, let's compare that
in shape and profile, right? I mean, they're both mushroomed, right? They look.
They're both
perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. The common theme that we're seeing with the TSXs and TTSXs that we fired. Actually, I don't think we fired a TTSX. All TSXs. Those pedals are way longer. So at one point they're open, think perpendicular to the bullet.
Right.
And think like let me count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blades spinning in there before they peel back like a ninja bullet blender. And like I said, the Hornady's no slouch at all. That is beautiful from a projectile performance standpoint.
I mean, the OD of the copper is just noticeably
significant.
Bigger.
Recovered diameter 0.6450. That's significant. Here we go. Recovered weight 168.8. Mark, you get the hat tip again.
Wait, hold on a sec. 168.8.
169 flat, right there. Mark guessed 169 flat. Bullets recovered weight 169 flat.
Unbelievable.
Mark Boardman. Took him 8 minutes to decide the weight. He guessed. He laid his hands on the block and he just
used the old brain calculator.
Yeah, the old brain calculator. For contrast, the 350 Legends cup and core measured at a maximum 0.525. So we went quite a bit bigger, and they do look quite a bit different. Like when you see the frontal area on them, the 350 copper is pretty astounding. Now, what I don't know about these projectiles,
I'd love to know how long it took in the copper bullet's path for the pedals to fully fold back. Did that happen?
No,
rapidly.
Very.
Yeah.
So when you look at the wound cavity, you see where it's like big wound cavity and then just a tube.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the big wound cavity, right when it stops.
Yeah.
Permanent cavitation. You end up with just a tube.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep. What I don't know about these is what is their minimum velocity to initiate expansion.
What?
These are they're still a triple shock X bullet, but they're a different triple shock X bullet. They have that huge hollow point cavity, and they've got a lot of mass behind them, and the pedals are relatively thin in comparison to what we've seen in like the TSX of smaller centerfire cartridges. So my assumption is that they do deploy at lower velocities, but I just don't know. I would say this would be a pretty easy cartridge to do some reduced load testing on, to figure out like,
sure,
what is your maximum distance window of operation before that bullet doesn't work. And I think the same would hold true for the lead, but you'd probably get away with a little bit more in the regular cup and core, as you usually do. Nonetheless, I think you said it before, we'll say it again. Both of those bullets would have killed the dickens out of anything you point at them at.
Yep.
Within range. Really neat and very cool looking copper projectile, though. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's neat. Just put it right back in there and shoot it again.
They both did quite well.
My pick is copper. Set that up in there. That's nice. Cool. So 450, so that's going to be a big one to pull out.
All right, we are back. We have extracted the 450 Bushmaster copper loading.
Mark, look at that bullet.
Which, again, look at that. Dude, that thing.
Mint.
Wow.
Mint. They're built different, man.
Again, this is a Barnes TSX.
Yeah.
FB.
Flat base.
Boy, she is.
Yep.
Golly, that's neat looking.
That's our best recovery
It does
yet.
look like a flower.
It looks like some sort of undersea creature that is beautiful to have in a fish tank, but deadly.
Yeah, it's a very
some sort of
anemone-like.
like some sort of hydra.
Anemone.
So
250 to start. We made some predictions here as well.
Let's see if Mark pulls it off. He probably bid $1 below. Of course, he did bid $1 below me. Mark Boardman, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
you said
250.
just straight up didn't lose anything.
There's no tip, so I thought for sure.
I don't think it lost anything. You might be more right.
Oh, maybe. All right. Wait up.
Okay. Here we go.
Please be 251. Please be 251. He did it again.
248.8.
Mark Boardman, ladies and gentlemen. That's 3 caliber.
3 in a row.
Yeah, 3 in a row.
Little hat trick action there.
My gosh. You know what we can't do is we can't make a fair comparison between this and the cup and core from an expanded diameter standpoint.
No.
So we're just going to pretend the cup and core didn't happen. We're just going to measure this projectile up across flats.
She's broad.
And we are at 8.8250. 0.8250. That is significant. We started at 0.450, 452, I should say. And we are at 0.8250. So that is a big chunk of lead going through there. Oh, man, is that just...
You just called it lead.
Or, yeah, you know what I said. Yeah, people just like call them buckhorns horns. They're not horns. Big piece of copper going through there. Large projectile. Looks like an umbrella for this case. It's beautiful. This is what I would probably shoot anyway. Of course, I am that way. Out of either one of these cartridges. And that thing just absolutely stomped that block. What's really cool about the 450 and the 350 both in the lead and copper, there's a distinct hole in the block on entrance.
Oh, that is notable.
Yeah, like just a hole.
Yeah,
in
on
there.
most of the other ones, like there's maybe a little bit hole, but a little hole,
like
but
a
it's
pinhole.
like a pinhole kind of seals back up. And yeah, on all of these, it's like you just like almost like a pencil-sized permanent hole.
It's kind of neat.
That didn't close back up. So yeah, I mean,
It's a little precarious.
great expansion. Notable diameter. That's making a big hole as it goes through.
It is.
Bullets stayed together, obviously, quite well. Pedal's not as folded back as on the 350. Like the 350 almost comes back and folds in, touching the base of the bullet.
Definitely.
This one has, remained kind of flared out a little bit more. So
What a cool set of cartridges. And I think it's really neat is in the modern era that we're in, with rangefinders and wind meters and ballistics calculators and these high-step and Magnum cartridges, there's still a lot of chatter around these 300 and in guns.
a lot of chatter, a lot of interest.
That makes me super happy.
In some areas, a definite need.
Oh, yes. We were talking about some cartridges the other day, and I was delighted to learn that 35 Whalen is considered legal for deer. And
There's a classic, huh?
Yeah, it's just the antithesis.
I could almost be convinced to pick that one just because of its history.
I know what you're saying. It's a cool cartridge. Really, really cool though. Like I said, these things are not high performance, long range blasters that a lot of folks are just crazy about these days. But they get a lot of fanfare, and rightly so. They're cool. They're a cool, fun gun to shoot. We were shooting Ruger Americans, which we love on this podcast because they're an economical rifle that brings a lot to the table in terms of performance for value. And both of them shot very well, sub-minute at 100 yards, which is just neat to think about, that you can take kind of a slow poke cartridge like this in a very humble rifle and get it to perform so masterfully at 100 yards. Be fun to take them out a little bit further. When we were developing the straight wall scope in our Crossfire 2 line, I know the fellas in training group and engineering, they were bringing those things out to kind of their maximum effective distance. So they were shooting them to about 300 yards.
Yeah.
And 350 scored very, very high during that test as well. And it should. It's a little bit better BC than the others. But cool stuff.
This is one, Ryan, where, I guess I picked my horse from the go. I was fond of, just what I'd looked at, read about with the 350 Legend. And if you said, Mark, pick a straight wall, go hunting, that's the one that I would have picked. And at the end of our shooting, at the end of this discussion, like I said, both did a great job, but I'm not. You can generally get me to change my mind about 5 or 6 times, through a single conversation.
Stayed the course on this one.
Stayed the course on this one.
Yeah.
I really like that cartridge for this intended purpose. I just think you're getting plenty of oomph. All the bullets did great. Plenty of penetration, great expansion on both of them. You're getting, I think, a little bit better long-range performance. If you do need to take a poke over a more, open ag field or something like that, just way more pleasant to shoot.
Oh yes, and
isn't it about half the recoil? I'm trying to remember the numbers.
It was
significantly
night and day.
Significantly less felt recoil with the 350 Legend. It's just a joy.
This would be a gun, no joke, that after shooting it, you've got a daughter that's old enough to hunt now. If you're going to hunt a straight wall state, or if you just even wanted a mild-mannered but very effective cartridge to hunt whitetails, great choice. She could shoot it easily. She could shoot that. I mean, it was like a pop gun in comparison to the 450, and very, very pleasant to shoot. We giggled. Pop! Oh, hey, that's fun. And
not so much with the 450. You're like, oh,
that sucked.
Yeah.
But really, really, really nice little cartridge. And you know what? I'm still torn because there is a part of me, and you know how I'll preach don't worry about velocity and energy because it doesn't mean diddly. There's a part of me that thinks about a 35 or a 45, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that 45, but I think it's unfounded. I think if I do get a straight wall, I'll just get both.
Oh, both is your answer?
Well, yeah, maybe. I'll probably get a 350. It's an adorable cartridge.
As I get older, I'm getting more into cartridges that are
mild-mannered.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Straight wall shootout.
350 versus 450.
And it stands. No debate. None for me at all. No debate.
It's like you want the 450 to be, but then you can't. You're I need to.
And pulling the triggers on them, running the numbers, shooting the jello, no debate. 350 is a fine cartridge.
I think they did a real nice job with that one.
Yep. I agree.
It checks all the boxes for me.
Another set of reloading dies that I need.
Does it check all the boxes for you out there? The viewers, the listeners, what do you think about this straight wall showdown?
Yeah.
Agree with our findings? Disagree? Have you shot deer with either of these cartridges? Boy, there's the true test.
Yeah, deers and pigs.
Yeah, deers and pigs, man. Let us know your experience with both of these. These tests are great, you shoot in gel, you can see it, you can talk about what happened. But there's no substitute for the real thing. So I genuinely would like to hear what people have been knocking down with either of these cartridges and what they found.
Heck yeah.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments. And thanks for listening. Happy hunting and shooting. Good luck this fall at press time. It's a fall.
Yeah. It's pumpkin spice weather out there.
Oh, my God.
Oh, can I say something?
Do you like pumpkin spice lattes? Ryan is asking.
Here's the deal. If you don't have a Culver's restaurant in your area, I'm sorry. If you do, the pumpkin spice shake will change your life. I mean it.
I kind of have like a personal boycott on pumpkin spice.
Have you ever had the pumpkin spice shake?
I haven't. And I like pumpkin spice. Like I'm not against it. It's just like
the stigma surrounding it and the whole thing.
It's just like everything.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's pumpkin spice.
I'll tell you what. You and I are going to go get us a nice treat. We're going to go get a pumpkin spice shake. You know what we're going to do? We're going to wait until it's grouse season. It's not quite opener yet at the time that we're recording. And we're going to do that grouse hunt that we've talked about. It was my 9-year anniversary at Vortex the other day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And day 4, I knew Mark and I were going to be friends because we started talking about rough grouse. And he said, how do you like to hunt them? I said, well, I walk a lot of trails. I don't run a dog. Which is nice because, when they fly, they're hard to hit. Mark goes, they can fly. And that's it. So this is my man. We've been talking about a grouse hunt for 9 years.
And we've never gone.
Never gone. I've gone.
And we live in a state that's known for grouse.
Oh, yes. Tremendous. And we're going grouse hunting. And on our way up, we're going to get a pumpkin spice shake.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I'm sure it'll be delicious. Like I said, it's just like, if it's a pizza, we got pumpkin spice pizza. We need a pumpkin. It's like, it's gotten a little extreme.
Hey, I'm with you. I don't like the outfits. I don't like the fanfare.
The outfits.
It's a whole thing.
Now?
I'm making a joke. I don't like the fanfare around pumpkin spice.
But you do like pumpkin spice.
That pumpkin spice shake. I've had a pumpkin spice latte. Trash. Pumpkin spice shake.
I'll maybe try it.
It's unbelievable.
I tell you what, if we go grouse hunting, I'll try it.
Okay. That's contingent on you saying, yeah, let's go. Because I'm going.
Gotta get busy. Get busy chasing big game.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Like we said, let us know. Let us know your experiences with these cartridges. Let Ryan know how much you do or don't like pumpkin spice
shakes.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, give this video a like if you liked it, comment something below, and give us a subscribe to the Vortex Nation podcast channel. It would mean a lot to us. Also, why don't you give us a follow over on Instagram while you're at it, at Vortex Nation Podcast. We'd love to hear from you over there, and we'll keep you updated with all kinds of cool photos and videos from our adventures that we do here. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Thank you again. Happy hunting and shooting, everybody. Have a good one.